Hi there, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra. If you're new to my channel, I do tons of farmhouse home decor with thrift store flips, some trash to treasure, and some dollar store DIYs. Today I'm going to show you how I make a huge farmhouse lantern. I've wanted a really big lantern for a really long time, and so I decided that today is the day. I have these 3-foot long poplar pieces that I picked up at the Home Depot, and they've been in my closet for, I want to say almost a year, maybe about 8 months or so. I also then cut out some different pieces that will go with it. These are the little blocks for the legs at the bottom, and the 2 squares are going to be the top and the bottom. The top and the bottom boards are just some MDF shelving, which is multi-density fiberboard, I believe, which is just chunks of old chipboard that's been glued together, and the glue is really hard for a screw to get through on its own. So when you're using this type of material, it's always a good idea to pre-drill your holes. I'm pre-drilling one for the tall portion and then another one for the little feet. Now it's time to start putting it together. The other thing that I like to do is to start the screws without actually holding on to both pieces. So I'm just going to start this screw into the top board, and then I'm going to get it screwed into the tall piece, which is the 3-foot poplar piece. This project was pretty tough for me to do on my own. I don't have a whole lot of strength in my arms and my hands, so I did enlist the help of my hubby to help me screw all of the pieces together. Here now I'm just pre-drilling some other holes for the little feet because the original holes that I drilled in already were a little too close to the standing parts. Now it's fairly easy just to put a screw in that pre-drilled hole and attach the feet. I'll do that on all 4 corners. I decided that since I was working with a lot of raw wood pieces, it would be really nice to stain it. I use Varathane gel stain, and this is the color Dark Walnut. I'm just going to dip my rag in and then just rub it onto the raw wood pieces and get the color that I want. I think I went over it a couple of times just to make sure I got a really nice deep color. If you like what you're seeing, I would love for you to stick around a while by hitting that red subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. I've taken the lantern inside, and you can see all the stained pieces here. They're starting to dry and cure. But I wanted to clean up this MDF portion here. I've got the lantern sitting upside down, so it's actually sitting on its head, and you probably won't notice this piece too much, but I wanted to make sure that it looked nice and professional and high-end, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a coat of DIY black chalk paint. On both of these platforms, so this is the bottom portion and then there's the top portion, that MDF is a really raw edge, and it's kind of just that chipboard material. So I decided that I'm going to paint that black as well, and then that's going to also add to a little bit of character for this lantern. So most of the colors are going to be dark walnut and black, and I've got a little surprise for you shortly that will change this lantern up, and I think it'll look really cool. This is a Dollar Tree cookie sheet. They come 2 to a pack, and I'm just using 1 for right now. I'm just taking my box cutter and I'm cutting off all of the exterior edges because I don't need that right now. I will, however, save it for other projects down the road. This is the little something special that I think will take this lantern to the next level. I'm going to make some galvanized sheets to go on top of the lantern and make it look more rustic and farmhouse. The lantern is 8 inches square, so I'm going to mark off 8 inches and just cut a square probably just about 1/4 of an inch larger all the way around, because I like to fold in the edges so I don't cut myself. It just makes the cut edge a little bit more smoother. Here's where you can see me folding the edges in, and that really helps to prevent cutting your fingers, although I did give myself a bit of a paper cut this time around. So here's my square piece, and now I'm taking the bottom end of this Dollar Tree razor. It has a razor on the inside of it. It's an awesome scraper tool, but I like to use the bottom end to smooth out these foil pans, and it really helps to make the crease really nice and sharp, and it also gets rid of all the little bumps that are on these pans. Now with galvanized, you could probably keep it this way if you wanted to. It might give it a little bit more texture, but I like to take it and smooth it out a bit. I'm going to give it a galvanized look, and I'm just taking a brush, and for some reason I grabbed my big chalk paint brush. It didn't really work out so well, so I ended up switching to just a regular dollar store paintbrush, and I just start by pouncing the black on it first, and you want to just cover everything but leave a little bit of the silver showing through. The second color I'll be using is a medium gray, and the third color will be white. Basically, you're going to be blending all 3 of these colors in layers and just pouncing the brush up and down. You can see here that I switched to just a regular paintbrush, and you're just going to blend the colors in until you get the look you like. So most of the lanterns that I've seen around have some type of extra pieces on the top to make them look like lanterns. I found this little piece of 2x4, and I think it's about 3 inches square, possibly something like that. And I'm just painting it black all the way around. I don't need to paint the bottom, but I will paint the top and the sides. This is another piece of wood that's going to go on the top of the lantern first, and then that little 3x3 square will go on top of that. I'm just using my hot glue, and I'm going to glue a piece of the Dollar Tree cookie sheet that's already been trimmed, folded, and pressed out right on top of this, and then I'll galvanize that with my paintbrush as well. I'm also painting the edges of this piece of wood black so it blends in with the rest of the piece. I'm going to start assembling all the pieces together. This is the very top of my lantern, and what I'm going to do is take that first piece, the 8x8 piece that I galvanized, and I'm going to hot glue that right onto the top of the lantern. That's going to be the base of the top fixtures. I wanted this lantern to have sort of a farmhouse industrial look. So I've got these little tacks that are furniture tacks, and they have a really nice textured top to them. They're black, and I'm just going to start hammering them in all the way around and just kind of make a pattern, one in each corner and then a couple in between those. Whenever I'm working with small tacks or nails, I like to use my needle nose pliers to hang on to the nail, and then that will give me more control over where I put it, and that I can hammer it in without hammering my fingers too. Here's how the first layer looks, and now that I've attached the other two together, I'm going to be putting these all together. So I'm going to have my base of the lantern, the thinner wood piece, and then the thicker wood piece on the top, and it's starting to look like an actual lantern. So I'm pretty impressed with myself. I think it's turning out pretty good. I'm going to make a decorative piece for the top of the lantern. Most lanterns do have something, and I think they're called a finial. I'm drilling a hole in the top of this rolling pin handle. It's a wood handle that I just removed from the rolling pin, and I'm putting a little piece of a dowel inside of that with some hot glue, and then I'm going to be putting the gold cabinet knob that you see off to the left there. I'm going to glue that on top, and then I'm going to paint everything black. Here I've got all my layered pieces attached. I did screw them in from the bottom and from the top, so everything is nice and sturdy. I also galvanized the top layer of that little 2x4 block, that 3x3 block that I have at the top, and added a whole bunch more of those metal studs. What I'm doing here is I've drilled a hole, and what I'm doing is cutting a piece of dowel that will fit into that hole and into the bottom of my rolling pin. So I can just glue everything in there and the dowel will hold it in nice and sturdy. I am really happy with how my lantern turned out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. Those black arrows will show you exactly where to click. I'd also appreciate a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. See you in the next one.